Greetings, listeners. It's your Destiny Pusher, Mrs. Cynthia Williams-Bey, and it's time to push through on this Fighting Friday so you can be restored and sprung forth into your destiny.
And we're back with a very special guest. Hello, and welcome to the Williams-Bey Radio Show.
Hey, Cindy. Hey, Williams-Bey Show.
This is Corinne Foster, someone that's very true and dear to my heart, someone that I love, love beyond words, honestly. This is someone that wears several hats. Let's explain to us a little about who Corinne Foster is.
I'm the queen. And it took a long time for me to realize that, but I am first and foremost my most important job, and one that I might have not been doing so great at. I'm a mom of 6 amazing human beings with a lot of attitude and personality and perseverance and endurance and love. I am a counselor to many. I'm a minister with cuss words. I'm a lover and a fighter. I'm a friend. I'm a teacher, and I'm a student. And this is all part of a big learning process for me.
So, yes, that is who you are. And normally when I ask women who they are, all those things they say, they have all those underneath their belt, they're a mother. But I'm gonna ask you a question again. Who are you? Who are you? Without all those things, before the kids, before the degrees, before the success, before running multiple nonprofits in New York City, before taking on other people's trauma, who are you?
I'm the little girl in Queens holding witch hazel to my mommy's face.
The little girl in Queens holding witch hazel to her mother's face. That's Corinne. Who is Corinne today?
I'm the grown lady in Brooklyn trying to help my mom heal.
So I'm gonna go back to April 29th, 2022. The day that I reached out to you and said happy birthday to you. It's the day that we reconnected. It's the day that changed my life. It's the day that changed a lot of things that was going on in my circle. And I bring that up to say how I got here to this point with you guys today, with the nonprofit and stuff. And I'm gonna be so honest, it wasn't something that I expected. I literally was reaching out to say happy birthday. Like, oh, happy birthday, I haven't talked to you in a while, I love you, I miss you and stuff, but in the moment that we shared on the phone, I never forget the time, it was 12:23 when I called you in the afternoon. I was on break at my job. And we was on the phone for, Regina was there. We was on the phone for an hour and 35 minutes.
It was Shayla.
Shayla was there. It was an hour and 35 minutes, I believe, that conversation lasted. And I just want to give you your flowers now and say thank you for helping me get to this point that I am in life. Even before that date, a lot of people don't understand how we met. So I think this is a perfect time to explain how we met. We met living in New York City.
Nope. I'm gonna interrupt.
We did.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Wait a minute. It was 2015.
Right.
And June 2014, my baby girl was 6 weeks old. I was living in Virginia. I was in Richmond, Virginia. And surrounded by my friends who loved me, living in a 3-story house, driving a brand new car, executive director of everything. Everything. The church, the businesses, was doing good.
What happened that day?
And I was considering leaving Richmond and coming back to New York because I just was overwhelmed with the baby and having been injured, and it was a lot going on. The abuse from my youngest children's father had got to a point where I was scared for my life. And I posted on Facebook. People don't understand how detrimental social media is for a woman in domestic violence. And I posted on Facebook, I'm coming home. Just a random thought. I just was in my head. And a guy that I used to flirt with back in 06, 07 was like, "See, you coming to New York?" And one of my children's father's friends saw the comment and made it their business to call from Brooklyn, New York to Richmond, Virginia to tell him that Corinne is telling her ex-boyfriend or friend that she's coming to him in New York.
And this was June
2014, and my baby was 6 weeks old.
6 weeks old.
I hadn't made it to the follow-up appointment, and so he pulled up in my car, because he would take my car or whatever. I had one of those. I had to take your car. Anyway, he pulled up, and when he pulled up, he started going ballistic. And he said, "Get in the car, you're gonna take me home, you're flirting with guys, da 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 da." He's screaming, he's berating me, he's calling me hoes, all kind of, B words, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm just ready for him to get out the car, right? I pull up to his apartment complex where there was a big parking lot and people, a little more low-income apartment complex. So, people just kind of on the stoop, they're hanging outside. And when we pull up to the parking lot, I go to get out the car to get in the driver's seat and say goodbye. He had a different plan. He took the keys out the car and threw them in the bushes. And I was scheduled to get my hair done the next day. He grabbed me out the car by my hair. He dragged me and he beat me in that parking lot for an hour while people watched. In a place where I held esteem, in a place where I had earned my ranks. And here it is, I'm still bleeding from birthing his child. And he's dragging me through a parking lot and no one called the police. No one said stop. Not one single person. And I was humiliated, digging through bushes, trying to find my car keys. I was weak. I was falling to the floor.
So,
and then,
when in that moment did you notice that this is not right?
oh, I had knew. I didn't do the 7-time cycle you're talking about. I did a good 15, 16 rounds of 12 years getting beat on and fighting him. And so, and wearing the mask like it wasn't happening. So I got in the car that day and I told the kids, put their stuff in black garbage bags, we'll leave it. And then...
So hold on. At this moment, tell your kids, how many kids do you have at this time?
6.
6 kids. And
a newborn baby.
And what are their ages? 6 weeks old.
Wait. 14, 13, 10, 11, 4, and newborn.
Wow. Tell your kids, let's go. Peas in garbage bags. Where are you going to?
I was going to New York. Then my brother called me and said, turn around, go to North Carolina. I went to North Carolina. That was a disastrous situation.
So we left off where your son said he's not going with you. You don't need another mouth to feed. Continue, please.
And so with no registration, no license plates, no insurance, and no driver's license, I got on the highway and I drove 12 hours from Charlotte, North Carolina to New York City. God had blessed me along the way. I had something in my head. It was a word that just kept flowing through me that said, surely goodness and mercy will follow you all the days of your life. Surely goodness and mercy will follow you all the days of your life. And I had made a friend in Charlotte, and she looked at me and said, you gotta go. And I said, I gotta go. And she handed me $200. I didn't have a coin in my pocket. I did not know how I was going. And she handed me $200, and that afforded me the gas to get to Richmond. And I was so tired. Around that time, I had re-injured myself. I was exhausted. I had a broke hip, a healing broke pelvis, a newborn baby. Like, it was, and I'm doing everything illegal, right? No driver's license, and the car's illegal. And I was worried, but I just said I gotta get through Virginia because I had Virginia tags that didn't belong to that car, you know? Oh, I was nervous. And so one of my other friends called me at 5 a.m. and she said, where are you? I'm worried. And I said, I'm at exit 123 or something. And she said, get off. I live around the corner. Come and get rest. And I got off, me and my children made pallets on the floor. We slept on the floor. And that morning, some friends of hers came to do some prayer workshop or something. They were picking her up and we were getting dressed to leave. And the woman said, I don't know, but something's telling me to give you this. And she gave me $200. And they hugged me, they prayed for me. I got back on the road. And when I made it to my cousin's house in New York, I had to accept that this journey wasn't about me not being able to take care of myself, that I was homeless as a consequence of domestic violence. And so I went, called the shelter, they placed me right away, and a 4th floor walk up, and I humbly held my head down and took me and my children from a 3-story, 4-bedroom house into a little 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartment in a shelter.
Okay, so you go to the shelter now. And this moment, you get to the shelter, you're going through the process. What are you thinking? Because you're not used to this. You're coming from a 3-story house in Richmond, Virginia.
No. Remember, my childhood was nothing but tragedy. I'm at the heart of me, I'm a hood chick.
Yeah, you get that.
Yeah, so
you get that.
I was ready for it. Like,
but at this stage in your life, you transitioned.
I definitely was transitioning, and I felt horrible about my children being in that dynamic. But New York City shelter system, I don't care if it's domestic violence, family, or it's like prison. And so I was ready. That's it. My mindset switched. The moment I got to New York and I had to go into a shelter, I was ready. Because, the abuse was at home in Virginia, but at this point, now I just put myself and my children in a critical situation with desperate people in poverty and people who are not trained to deal with people who have experienced trauma, and now I have to position myself.
So how did you overcome this? Like you said, New York City shelter system is like a shelter. I mean, it's like a prison. So how did you overcome this situation that I just up and left? Me and my kids is here. This is where we are now.
Yeah.
How do you adjust to that lifestyle? Yeah, you've been through it before as a child, but how do you adjust to it as an adult? Leaving a home, a life where you call life, a home where you called home, to somewhere that is not home for you anymore.
You don't adjust. You get through it. You live through it. Just like abuse. Every violent experience I ever had with any of my children's fathers, I lived through it. Abuse never feels right. There is no, I got accustomed to it. You never get accustomed to someone pushing their fist in your face. You never get accustomed to somebody calling you or out your name. You do not assimilate to abuse. It totally destroys your central nervous system, and everything in you doesn't know how to respond. It's like you're on hyper response. They call it hypervigilance. And so now you're just always ready for whatever, right? And so you learn how to live through it. And so each circumstance will require a different you in order to live through it. In the instance of the shelter system, in order for me to survive it, I had to conform to what they needed me to do, but I did it in my own way. I still woke up every morning, I did my hair, I did my makeup, I made sure that I took care of myself as best I could, so that, yeah, of course I couldn't afford to get my hair and my nails done by a professional, but I made sure that I kept a sense of self while I went through that experience. And I also made sure that everybody around me knew that I was not to be played with, but to be respected. And so I feel like a lot of times when we go through those situations, we allow the aftermath to destroy us, because you gotta have strength to get out. Oh, a lot of people look at you and think you're weak because you're in a situation. I can never let nobody put their hands on me. Well, and no man put their hands on me. You don't know until you're on the other side of a fist. Hate to tell you. And there is no way to predict if somebody's going to be an abuser. You don't know if somebody's going to be an abuser. A lot of times people say, well, you got to watch the signs. A true narcissist, a master crafter abuser, doesn't walk around with signs. It's almost like telling a child, you should know what a pedophile looks like. How? Pedophiles know how to mask themselves. And so in essence, when we really look at the preset of what abuse really felt like in that moment, it felt like having to rebuild the life that I already built. But I was so determined to prove him wrong. He said, you want? And I said, watch this.
So you go through the situation, you finish, you go through the shelter system, you come out of the shelter system. You move now to Staten Island, right?
Not necessarily. I think I moved around maybe 3 times before I decided to come to Brooklyn. Long story short, trauma bonding is a real thing. Stockholm syndrome is a real thing. Domestic violence abuse doesn't just mean mental illness for the abuser, but it also creates mental illness for the abusee. Something inside of me had decided that this was a fixable situation and that it was one worth fighting for, right? You listen to love songs and you want love and you want a family and you've made your mistakes in relationships, so you'll hold on to the last one like it's the last meal, like it's the last supper, the way they was holding on to Jesus. Like you don't want to let that relationship go. It becomes an idol in your life. And so even though I had escaped, I felt like time and space would create a new him. Well, every time I thought that over the past 8 years, which was, I say, 2 or 3 times, right? I was proven not only wrong, but that he did change to something worse every single time. And so I'm at a space now where his words are my motivation.
So before we get there, you went through this whole situation, you come out of it, and then you become this pioneer of executive director of like several nonprofits in New York City. We're not going to name any of the ones that you ran, but you ran several of them, and you did really good, and you left an impact on several of them. And then we see you on buses, trains, and promo all over. What does that do for you from coming out of this situation to becoming this pioneer of someone that can go and reorganize a place, reestablish the mission, and to keep the mission concrete? And then you do all of that, and then you birth an organization out of doing all of that. So how did all of that transpire to today?
He's my manager, y'all. If you would like to book me. Oh my gosh. I'm a pioneer, y'all. I told you I'm just a little black girl from Queens. I think it's the grace of God. I believe that it was because God has a plan for my life and a purpose and a design for even the bad things that happen. And he just continually created opportunities, and I just boldly walked through those doors. And it's not to say that I didn't just continue to do things that were against my purpose, my successes. But his grace and mercy just kept covering me. Because I tell you, if you ain't never meet a fool, I'm the most educated, go back to some nonsense woman you ever met in your life. But when I got to the point where I saw my life ended, right? Where I revisit being a family with him in 2018, and he strangled me unconscious.
Hold on, so you said he strangled you unconscious in 2018. So you go through all of this, you come out of it, you become this pioneer and running almost every organization that you can think of in New York City. And then there's a relapse. It's like a drug addiction.
It almost is like exactly.
So you go backwards because you think this person is healed, and then, go ahead, you essentially, you're not healed. And in your mind, you're thinking, this is the correct time.
Right.
We can get through this together.
Because he got quiet. And so what I didn't realize was that the quiet wasn't that he became better. He just found more women to abuse. And so he finished abusing them. But see, I'm the pentacle. I'm the one that is the...
It started with you.
Well, no, it didn't start with me. They need to have a abusers registry, like the sex registry, because these serial abusers, we should be able to look them up. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. What he did was he created a whole lot of other dynamics with other women. And so he began to spread out his abuse amongst women. And so the problem is that I kept getting away and getting better. And so he would transfer the abuse of the anger from me not being with him to these women. And he would show them videos of me intimately. He would tell them to dye their hair blonde, no matter what complexion they were. He would tell them that I'm his pride and joy.
So basically he wanted a reflection of Corinne.
Right.
And so everyone that he was with.
And he was literally assaulting these women and abusing them, but then would come back to me like as if he had improved because he was getting that aggression out elsewhere. And so then when it would reel in to us being in a relationship again in 2018, that's when he started explaining a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And I got a baby over here and I got a baby over there. And I said, well, that's enough. Be blessed. Go take care of your families. No, I have the girls. Y'all are my family. And that's fine. That's nice. But I don't want to be bothered with you. I didn't want him to touch me. It was just too much violation. Like you're not only abusing me, but you're cheating. You're having other babies. You're creating, this is a mess. And I want my life to be functional. I want a good life for myself. And so the moment I said, that's it, he took it, and like to this day, he'll tell you that I didn't want him anymore because I was cheating on him. He takes no accountability for what happened. And so he felt like I was cheating on him. And so when I came home or whatever, he put me in a car and he strangled me. And he cut my neck with a knife. And I fought my way out. I'm giving the cliff notes because we definitely don't want to go too far with Tehran, but when I left that space, I decided to create a new me. And I named her. I knew I could not survive as the old me anymore, and I named her. And when I named Charisma the Queen, and I embodied the queen, I turned off my sensory towards the need for family. I turned off my desire for a relationship. I turned off everything human about me in a philo love, and I took all of that energy into making my life mean something because I saw it flash before my eyes. And so now we sit here today, and I've done that, but not enough. Not enough. Because while yes, I was strong enough to fight my way out of a car, there are so many women who will never get out of the car. They'll never make it out the car. They'll never make it out of the parking lot. They'll never make it out of the abuse. They'll live in shelters for years and years because of the trauma and the depression. And so I'm sitting here and I share my story not because I want to berate my children's father. He doesn't even matter. He's just part of the story. Or because I want to expose, my personal business. I sit here because somebody needs to know that they can be free.
So can you tell us a little bit about the organization that you have and that you founded, and the mission behind what you guys do on an everyday basis?
So the International Queendom is all about having a good time. The International Queendom came about on a trip to Tampa, and my childhood best friend, Shanita Bland, who is one of the executive board members, she and I reconnected. It was beautiful, but in that reconnecting, what we found in common was that we both were survivors of domestic violence. And it was like baffling how every single woman I know had been impacted by domestic violence, either personally or as children. And she said, Corinne, I always have admired and watched you on social media, how you got your education, how you were able to overcome. And I always watched you and just was like, I wish I could have did it, but he beat that out of me. And she said, but I want to help other women. And I looked at her and I was charged immediately because her passion and my abilities ignited in a special way. And so the International Queendom was formed, and it took some time for it to evolve. We've been official 501c3 for over about a year, but it took time for us to be in the space we are in now. It took women bringing their stories together. And so the International Queendom is about changing the narrative for women globally through multi-purpose services. And we do that through intentional and impactful events, fundraisers, and programs. This year, for the remainder of 2022 and for 2023, the theme for the International Queendom is the rise of the queen. And I came about that because it's so often we focus on how we fell. We remember and tell the stories of how we became damaged. As if healing is not an ever-evolving process. Even until our death, we will need to heal from something. We are never a finished product. We should always continue to learn. But that's where we often lose ourselves, in the rise. And so we decided that, well, God had given me the vision of the rise of the queen, and we decided collectively that our goal would not be to be trying to heal all women globally of all things at the same time. But we would start in the area where we all had a common ground, and that was domestic violence. And so here we are for the remainder of 2022, and for the next year, 2023, we will be focusing on domestic violence. And so today is the first day of domestic violence, October 1st. It starts off Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we have lots of things that we're going to be planning and doing.
There's also a event that you guys are throwing. I think we should tell people about it. October 15th.
October 15th. We have to bring everyone together because we're having a night for survivors. We're going to be running a fundraiser. We'll have food, we'll have entertainment, and it's going to be a day truly for night for survivors. Just not a gala, not really a party, but an experience, a chance to gather as survivors, celebrating the rise of the queens. Because oftentimes women don't recognize that they ever were victims, so they don't know they survived. And so how can you rise if you don't know you survived?
And we can also tell people that domestic violence comes in several forms. It doesn't just come physical. Is that correct?
Right. So you have economic, you have, men can hold back, men and women can hold back money, because let's understand domestic violence has no gender, but the International Queendom is an organization specifically for women. And so, we're just here October 15th. We're having our Domestic Violence Awareness Month event, which will be a night for survivors. Cindy, we want to thank you so much for letting us come on and take over the radio show. Listeners, if there's anything that we can do for you to help you, please find us on Instagram at International Queendom INC. And we'll be building up so much. Our website is iQueen.org, and you can find us there as well. We just want to support you guys in the rise of the queens, and anything we could do or anything you can do, please connect with us. We are accepting donations. We are a 501c3 official organization, and I think that domestic violence is an issue that must be addressed, and we're here to address it for the rest of this year, hopefully making an impact to stop it. Thank you very much.
Yes, and we would like to end here with thank you to our guests, people that we interviewed today, the founder of International Queendom, Corinne Foster, and again, I am your host, Jazz. You can find me on Instagram at jazz_1127, and there's more to come.
Way more. Love you, Cindy.
Thank you.
Let's go. Hello, Rejoice listeners. This is Cynthia Williams-Bey of the Williams-Bey Radio Show. Be sure to tune in with me every Friday at 12 noon here on Rejoice 101.3. Because it's Fighting Fridays and it's time for you to push through so God can restore you and spring you forth into your destiny.
you raise me, a clean heart renews me. I'm seeking you only, yeah. I'm seeking you only. You're the God who knows me, the God who loves me. He sees me worthy, I call him holy. And if God is for me, no devil in hell could be against me. And I believe that, yeah, I receive that. You know I claim that.
Anytime I feel down, I know I can depend on you to help me pull through. The situations in my life, nobody said it would be easy to walk this way, to live this life today. But through it all, I can say that I never found such love from somebody who treats everybody like somebody. I can't express my love with 10,000 tongues, but I'm willing to try. So I just wanna take this chance to open my mouth and say thank you, thank you for every good thing in my life. I'm grateful, I gotta say thank you, thank you. There were times I lost hope, my faith was weak and my heart was sinking, and I couldn't see my way out. But then you came and showed me the words to say, the prayers to pray. Give me strength to find my way. I never felt such love, yeah, from somebody. Everybody like somebody. I wish I could, but I can't. I can't express my love with 10,000 tongues, but I'm willing to try. So yeah, I just wanna take this chance. I just wanna take this chance. Open my mouth and say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for every good thing in my life. Every good thing in my life now. Thank you. Grateful, I gotta say thank you. I just wanna take this chance, yeah. I just wanna take this chance to open my mouth and say thank you. Open my mouth and say thank you, Lord, yeah. For every good thing in my life. Every good thing in my life now. Say thank you. Grateful, I gotta say thank you. Look here now. I wanna thank you for all that you've done. I wanna thank you for giving your son. I wanna thank you, 'cause Lord, you're the one. I wanna thank you. I wanna thank you for all that you've done. I wanna thank you for giving your son. I wanna thank you, 'cause Lord, you're the one. I wanna thank you. Just wanna say thank you. I just wanna take this chance. I just wanna take this chance. Say thank you, thank you, thank you. I just wanna say thank you for every good thing in my life. All you've done for me, I gotta say thank you, thank you, thank you. Listen at me. I wanna thank you for all that you've done. I wanna thank you for giving your son. I wanna thank you, 'cause Lord, you're the one. I wanna thank you. Oh, I wanna thank you for all that you've done. I wanna thank you for giving your son. I wanna thank you. Lord, you're the one. I wanna thank you. Just wanna say thank you. I just wanna take this chance to open my mouth and say thank you, thank you for every good thing in my life. I'm grateful, I gotta say thank you, thank you.
This is your Destiny Pusher, Mrs. Cynthia Williams-Bey, and you are listening to the Williams-Bey Radio Show here on Rejoice 101.3.
To be a guest or a partner, or to have your music played on the Williams-Bey Radio Show, email cindy@bayradioshow.com. To stay up to date with the Williams-Bey Radio Show, or to catch a replay, visit www.bayradioshow.com. And don't forget to follow the Williams-Bey Radio Show on all social media platforms at Bey Radio Show. If you would like to sow into the Williams-Bey Radio Show, you can Cash App us at $Williams-Bey Radio Show.
Someone may be wondering how you can smile with everything that's going on in your life. This is what you tell them. Listen. This joy that I have, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. And if the world can't take it away, yeah. Because Jesus is that joy. Jesus is that joy. Oh, let's sing it again. This joy that I have, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. No, this joy that I have, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. This joy I have, this joy that I have, yeah, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. And if the world didn't get it, the world can't take it away. Yeah. Remember that Jesus is that joy. 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 He is my 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 joy. When I was all alone, He is my joy. The joy of life. He is my joy. He is my joy. Listen, I feel it in my hands, feel it in my hands. I feel it in my hands, feel it in my hands. I feel it in my feet, feel it in my feet. Feel it in my feet, feel it in my feet. Yeah. Feel it in my hands, feel it in my hands. I feel them in my hands, feel them in my hands. I feel it in my feet, my feet, my feet. I feel it in my hands. Feel them in my hands, feel them in my hands. When I clap, feel them in my hands, feel them in my hands. I dance with my feet. This joy goes down my feet, goes to my feet. This is amazing joy. This is a wonderful joy. This is the part for you to dance, for you to clap your hands. And while you're clapping, joy is coming back to you. Your faith is being restored. Strength, peace of mind. It's yours in His joy. Yeah, this joy that I have, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. And if the world didn't give it, the world can't take it away.
His name is Jesus. I got a friend. His name is Jesus. It's no one like me. 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 I got a friend. That you know. He serves Serena, Venus, even served Bruno Mars, Wrigley. Bars and sound bites you can handle. Note this, I'm tenor by tone, but my Ric Flair is soprano. Had to cut a ham near my pocket like Randall, but the Pearson adopted me, therefore I am Randall. I wasn't born here, I was born again here. I went from Gentile to a gentleman cause of my friend. You know, I got a friend. His name is Jesus. It's no one like it. 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 You say I got a friend. His name is Jesus. I got a friend. His name is Jesus. It's no one like it. 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 You say I got a friend who knows all my griefs and my sins. I was guilty in a sense. That's what he bathed me in, like Chanel when he was nailed to that lowercase t like a plus sign. Do the math, simple addition. The sun is the sum, in him there is no division. Make sure in all you're getting, you get nutrition. And when you're talking about my friends, say delicious. His name is Jesus. I got a friend. His name is Jesus. There's no one like, 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 there's no one like. You say I got a friend. His name is Jesus. I got a friend. His name is Jesus. There's no one like him. There's no one like him. Yeah. There's no one like him. There's no one like him. I got a friend who knows every trial, every temptation. Knows that you get weak, know that you're heavy laden. But in his arms you'll be safe like you beat the throw. He went to bat for you so you were coming home. Even if you ran the base or you stole. Even if the fat lady singing she ain't clothes. No, you still got time, I suppose. If you don't think that I'm keeping it real, look at my nose.
His name is Jesus. I got a friend. His name is Jesus.
There's no one like me. There's no one like me. You say there's no one like me. There's no one like me. I got a friend. His name is Jesus. I got a friend. I got a friend. His name is Jesus. There's no one like. 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 Not at all.
Friend. His name is Jesus. I got a friend. His name is Jesus.
There's no one like it. There's no one like it. There's no one like it. There's no one like it.
This is your Destiny Pusher, Mrs. Cynthia Williams-Bey, and you are listening to the Williams-Bey Radio Show here on Rejoice 101.3.
Now I done lived half of my life inside incarcerated places. Sick and tired of having to struggle with my back against the wall. Standing strong on my 10 toes, I can't stand another fall. Got 4 little kids that need me, so I know I gotta change. Responsibility make it harder, so I'm trapped in the game. Contemplating on tomorrow, steady blowing on that weed. Relieving stress, so I stay high, cause this stress I don't need. Situations be so messed up, I'm close to the end. I wonder how my folk would take it if I ended up dead. Trying to hold on to my sanity, I'm tempted to click. Taking chances in the dope house, getting all I can get. I ask the question, why the hell I'm guilty, messed up car. Curse from birth, put on this earth to live life hard. But I know it's a chance for me, it's got to be, I'm still alive. I'ma keep on holding on and pray I'm blessed, steady rise, you feel me?
It won't always be like this. It's turning around. It won't always be like this. It's turning around. It won't always be like this. It's turning around. It won't always be like this. It's turning around for me.
I pray for better days. Y'all don't understand that I wanted to give up battling with suicide thoughts. The pressure took over my mind. Now I'm racing to find out, Lord, where do I go? Situations taking the best of me. How further can you hear me? Give me direction to see clearly.
It won't always be like this. It's turning around. It won't always be like this. It's turning around. It won't always be like this. It's turning around. It won't always be like this. It's turning around for me. Better days. With my mind is better, and my heart is better. With my family is better, on the road is better. I know better, better days are coming. Yeah, yeah.
Said it won't.
Always, yeah.
Said it won't.
If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 800-799-7233. You can also text START to 88788. That's START to 88788. If you or someone you know is currently in mental distress or having thoughts of self-harm, please call or text the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 988.
Thank you for tuning in to the Williams-Bey Radio Show here on Rejoice 101.3. To be a guest or to become a partner of our show, please be sure to email me at cindy@bayradioshow.com. To stay up to date with us and to catch the replay, visit us at www.bayradioshow.com. And don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms at Bey Radio Show. And again, this is your Destiny Pusher, Mrs. Cynthia Williams-Bey, and I need you to meet me back next Friday at the same time so that God can restore you and spring you forth into your destiny.